this nib is one of the softest, springiest nibs I have ever tried in my life. Hi everyone, I'm Daisy from Yoseka Stationery, and today we are going to be trying out the Pilot number 30 nib, one of Pilot's largest and most luxurious nibs found on the Pilot Custom Urushi fountain pen. These fountain pens here. In today's video, we are focusing on doing a writing sample and using our Yoseka Nib Logs here to measure out the line width of the 3 different nib sizes of the Pilot Custom Urushi. It comes in fine, medium, medium, and broad. Fine medium is 1 nib size, FM, medium, and broad. And for more information on the Pilot Custom Urushi pen itself, if you don't know much about the pen itself, be sure to check out our Pilot Custom Urushi explained video, which we'll link below. So here is a Pilot Custom Urushi fountain pen. This is it in the vermilion color. As you can see, it's an oversized fountain pen. The barrel and the cap are made out of ebonite on this pen, which actually means that for such a large pen, it isn't overly heavy. Some fountain pens are made of brass, which would make it very, very heavy, and in this size, it would make it unusable. But my first impression picking up this fountain pen for such a large size is that it's actually holdable. It's actually comfortable to hold in my hand, and it's not completely impractical in terms of the size. So I like that. That's my first impression. Let's uncap the pen and take a look at the nib. So this is the Pilot number 30 nib. It's a beautiful bi-colored nib, which not all Pilot pens come with a bi-color nib, so this one is a little bit special in that way. And this is the FM size. This is kind of a hard to find size here in the US for some fountain pens, so this is kind of neat that they made this size available in this pen. So let's give it a try using our Yoseka Nib Log, and we will give it a write and see how it does. Okay, so I just finished writing with the fine medium, and I have to say that this nib is one of the softest, springiest nibs I have ever tried in my life. For such a large nib to be so bouncy and so springy, I have to admit, it takes a little bit of getting used to for me personally, and it just takes a little bit of adjusting your grip. So I don't know if it's for everybody in terms of this pen. And in terms of the width of this pen, for me, it definitely feels like a little bit on the larger side. But as I was saying before, because this pen is made out of ebonite, it's on the lighter side for how large it is. So it's quite comfortable in terms of like being able to write with it long term. I think that I would be able to write with it long term, but the nib, I just feel like I can't put any pressure on that nib at all without it feeling very, very bouncy and being something to get used to. And as you can see here in my ink smear test, this is just the beginning, by the way. This is just the FM. We still have the M and the broad nibs to go. And this is already super wet, you can see here. So I'm excited to try out the other nib sizes and just kind of see how much softer or how much wetter those nibs can be. So let's give those nibs a try. Okay, so that was the medium nib, and just as expected, the medium nib is a little bit of a step up from the fine medium nib, which I'll pull back over here. You can see that I thought the fine medium nib from the line comparison was about 0.5 millimeters in thickness, and I think the medium nib is actually not too much thicker in terms of line width. It's a really, really subtle difference. I think it's about 0.6, maybe 0.65 if I were trying to go in between sizes. What really contributes to like these pens feeling very, very thick is just how wet they are due to the soft, springy nib. So I wrote here in my notes, this pen is not for weak paper. And truly, I believe that this pen, the Custom Urushi, is not for weak paper. And I mean, I have like new levels of respect for MD paper because it's holding up really well to how soft and juicy these nibs are, because the amount of ink that is coming out from this nib with each stroke is really unbelievable. So that's just the medium. Let's try out the broad and see how it feels. Oh my God, this nib is crazy. It is so thick, and there's just so much ink coming out. I can't believe it. Okay, in my notes for this Custom Urushi broad nib, I wrote, is this nib too smooth? Like, I have never felt that way before about a pen, but I almost feel like this nib is too smooth. Because of the nib size, it's a broad, which, you know, the broader the nib size, the thicker the nib size, usually the smoother the pen feels. Plus the wetness of this nib, it just feels like this pen is really gliding on the paper to a point where I feel like it's almost like too much. Like I don't have control of what I'm writing. And that is kind of one of the first times that I have really felt like that with a fountain pen. So I think that pretty much sums up this pen. Like, it is a very, very smooth writer. It is very, very wet, and it is a significant jump up in line width from the fine medium and the medium, which were, if you can see here, 0.5 and 0.6. This one, I think, really jumped up all the way to 0.8. So it's a noticeable difference in width, and the wetness is just like almost off the charts, like very, very wet, smearing a lot. And I'm really just impressed with MD paper for being able to hold these lines together without feathering, because really, truly, this is a very, very wet writer, a very, very soft nib. And I just thought maybe I was testing the limits of the MD paper, but it held it together, which is very impressive. So there you have it. We tried the fine medium, the medium, and the broad of the Pilot Custom Urushi, the number 30 size nib. This nib is a very, very soft nib, a very, very wet nib. If you don't like a lot of ink, and if you don't like a very soft, springy, responsive nib to any sort of pressure, like I think responsive is a good word. It's a very responsive nib to any kind of pressure that you're applying on it. This might not be the pen for you. It is a very large pen as well, and paired with how springy that nib is, it could be a little bit hard to control. On the other hand, if you are somebody who really, really loves to show off their inks, and you might be somebody who does a little bit of some cursive writing where you have fast strokes and slow strokes, and you like to be able to see that ink variation where you have slight variation in pressure in your handwriting, I think this pen would beautifully show off your handwriting and your ink choices very, very well. So that is my take on the Pilot Custom Urushi. I hope this video helped you in some way, whether you are considering the Pilot Custom Urushi or whether you're just trying to understand soft nibs. This is the nib to try. If you're trying to understand soft nibs, try out this nib and you'll understand exactly what a soft nib is. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you, and we'll see you soon. Bye.